This is your Adventist News, a service of the South Bahamas Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, and I'm Stanley Floyd. Coming up in this week's broadcast, virtual attendees learn how to grow their own food, women pray, and who is the Remnant Church? These stories and more on this week's Adventist News. Last week, the Hillview Retention Committee concluded their series on different areas of evangelism that laypersons can explore. During the series, the last session was with Anthony Charger, who spoke about the importance of backyard farming. He encouraged the virtual attendees to eat fresh produce as far as possible. Charger said even if a person is not able to grow food, it would be good to find local producers to purchase items from in bulk. When these foods are in season, they are at their highest in nutrition, so preserving them will enable persons to eat healthy all year.
I think it's in Proverbs 6:6. It says, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, and learn her ways and become wise." And one of the things the ants do there, if you continue to read, is that they harvest their food in the summer for the winter. And so, harvesting in season and making it last until the next season is not what was talked about when it was saying to store up. Store up would be like, stockpiling things, thinking that you're going to be lasting years. But just taking a harvest of, let's say, grain or, apples and canning them so that you have enough for the year until the next apple season, that's not called storing up. In fact, until the food supply chain became like completely systematic like it is now and international, like that was something that every family did for centuries.
Throughout the presentation, Anthony Charger and his family demonstrated how the entire family could be involved in planting and harvesting their own food to preserve good health. He admonished the viewers to start small if land is not available and watch the plan that God has for their lives unfold. The Wednesday Pause and Pray special edition for the Women's Ministries Department of our conference was held this week to conclude the month of September. The prayer focus was for the teachers and students. Since 2020, the women have been hosting these power-packed virtual sessions where they have been praying for different areas of their lives and for the community. So ladies, if you're not involved with Midday Pause and Pray, the Women's Ministries Director, Jacqueline Gibson, encourages you to try it and watch God transform your lives. The Bible class for the South Bahamas Conference is held every Sunday evening on Zoom and YouTube for those of you who are eager to study more. Last weekend, the study was on the Remnant Church with guest presenter Gerhard Fandel.
His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born. She bore a male child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up to God and his throne. Then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Now, whenever I ask the question in church, who is the woman? I get the response that she is the church. But then we go on and say the dragon is Satan and the man-child is Christ. But how can the woman be the church if Christ is the child? Because the child brought forth the woman, the church, not the other way around. So it is better to say that the woman is a symbol of God's people. In the Old Testament, there was a church, there was a group, a people of God called the Jews. And Jesus came forth from the Jews. So in verse 1, the woman represents God's Old Testament people. The dragon, of course, is explained in verse 9, is Satan, and the man-child prophesied in Psalm chapter 2, verse 9, who rules with an iron rod, is Jesus.
Be sure to join this week's session, which begins at 6:30 p.m. on Sunday. We'll be right back after this break with upcoming events from within the South Bahamas Conference.
Dans le plan scénario que nous avons pour nous capables de répondre l'urgence, actuellement là, ça qui est plus important pour nous d'avoir fait et ça que nous commençons à faire déjà, c'est distribution d'eau que nous avons. Mais sûrement dans quelques jours, nous devons intervenir aussi vite. Parce que cette situation n'est pas qu'à attendre encore. Nous ne pouvons pas prendre temps encore. Il y a des gens qui ont brûlé grand goût, il y a des gens qui ont soleil qui ont battu. Donc nous devons faire quelque chose de plus rapidement possible car le peuple est en danger.
Welcome back to Adventist News. Here's what's coming up in the South Bahamas Conference. In the month of October, the Joint Week of Prayer for the Children and Adolescent Ministries Department of our conference will be held under the theme Paper Prayers. So, parents, listen out for more on this exciting program that will lead our children and teens into a more meaningful prayer life. The Women's Ministries Department of our conference will host their virtual conclave during October 15th through 17th. It'll be another interactive and inspirational time where there will be testimonies and praise. The guest speaker will be Bonilla Jennings of the Allegheny West Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. The youth department of our conference would like you to be aware of the National Youth Leaders Certification Program that is coming up in early October. The program, which is an annual one conducted by the Ministry of Youth for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, will be virtual this year, which means all islands are welcome to participate. The program commences on October 5th and lasts for 16 weeks. The primary goal is to strengthen social support systems and collaborate with key stakeholders in youth development, promote the participation of young people in decision-making, professionalize the youth work sector, and monitor and evaluate the progress of youth development in the Bahamas. You are invited to sign up from the Division of Youth 242 on Facebook and Instagram. Please see our youth page on the South Bahamas Conference website for more details. For more upcoming events and information on the events mentioned, please also visit our conference website at southbahamasconference.org, where you can view our news update along with other programming from our cable channel, ATV 658. You can read the weekly logos and the Adventist page publication from the Nassau Guardian.
Colon cancer is one of the most common types of cancer. The small intestine is less frequently affected by the disease, which is why the term bowel cancer is generally understood to mean colon cancer. The number of women and men diagnosed with bowel cancer is more or less the same. The risk of developing the disease increases significantly from the age of 50 onwards. Bowel cancer almost always presents as some small polyps, known as colorectal polyps. Preventative examinations are therefore incredibly important for people who face an increased risk. Such checkups make it possible to identify and remove these polyps at an early stage. The following risk factors make a person more likely to develop bowel cancer. Other family members who have suffered from bowel cancer, polyps in the colon, chronic inflammatory bowel diseases such as Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, excess body weight, or very little exercise. For a long time, bowel cancer exhibits very few symptoms or no symptoms at all. Important signs that could indicate bowel cancer include altered bowel movements, a need to defecate that does not result in a bowel movement, fluctuations between diarrhea and constipation, as well as blood in the stool. More general symptoms such as weight loss and tiredness can also point to bowel cancer. Bowel cancer very rarely causes stomach pains. A colonoscopy is carried out to diagnose the disease, so it is possible to make a definitive cancer diagnosis. The choice of treatment depends on how far the cancer has progressed.
We go now to our news feature from around the world with the Adventist News Network.
After years of prayerful planning, more than 330 evangelistic meetings were held across the U.S. states of Texas and Oklahoma. This is one of the largest evangelistic thrusts ever implemented in Texas. These meetings involve people at all levels of the Adventist Church, including local administrators and Adventist World Radio team members and ambassadors. President of Adventist World Radio, Dwayne McKee, said, AWR is all about reaching people where they are, whether it's preaching to the toughest to access people on earth through shortwave radio or engaging with those right here in our own backyard. The Lord is blessing these efforts, and we're so excited to be partnering with our brothers and sisters in Texas and Oklahoma to finish the work. The meetings haven't been without challenges. Just before the meeting's opening night, vandals defaced the Brownsville Seventh-day Adventist Church with swastikas and other hate words and symbols. This brought the community together, however, quickly painting over the graffiti. The local ABC news station ran a story about it, which resulted in even more interest in the series. Evangelist Robert Costa is holding 2 Spanish series in September. His first one in Elsa, Texas, resulted in 22 decisions for baptism, and his current meetings in Austin have already resulted in additional baptisms and decisions for Jesus. Follow Adventist World Radio at 8wr.org or on social media for the latest updates on this evangelistic effort.
That brings us to the end of our Adventist news from the South Bahamas Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Please feel free to share what is happening at your church by sending us your news stories and upcoming events by email to sbcadventistnews@gmail.com. To view a rebroadcast of the Adventist news along with other programming, or to keep in touch with what's happening in our conference, you can visit our conference website at southbahamasconference.org. Like, follow, and subscribe to our Facebook and Instagram pages, as well as our YouTube channel. And on behalf of the production team of Adventist Television Channel 658, we thank you for watching our news broadcast. I'm Stanley Fallord for the SBC Media Network. Have a happy Sabbath.